My fiancé, a 27-year-old man, and I, a 25-year-old woman, share a 3-bedroom flat. Our son is a newborn. Due to her need to get to class early in the morning, my 20-year-old younger sister Mia just started attending a university nearer to my residence than my parents. We gave her permission to move into our spare bedroom, my fiancé and I. We've had her in our home since January. I've made Mia abide by a set of rules since she moved in, primarily to make sure that everyone can live in harmony. One of the most crucial guidelines is to arrive after my son's bedtime, which is typically between 7 and 8. Mia is free to arrive home whenever she likes, provided she doesn't create a lot of noise. The apartment door is secured with an electronic keypad lock, and the one we use has a conventional lock underneath. Although the key is in everyone's possession, we all like entering the password by hand. Nevertheless, my son's nursery is near the door and the keypad is really noisy. Every time I use the keypad after I've placed the baby to sleep, he wakes up. Naturally, avoiding using the keyboard is part of the rule about arriving home late. From the beginning, everyone, including Mia, has been aware of this. We didn't have any issues initially, but as Mia adjusted to college life, she has started going out late a lot. She has been coming home after midnight every Friday and Saturday for the past month. She has frequently used the keypad and is continuously forgetting the "don't make too much noise" regulation. Every time my son wakes up sobbing, every time this occurred, I would sit her down and remind her of the rule, but she persisted in doing it. We grew weary of putting our infant back to sleep, my fiancé and I. I informed Mia that she was no longer permitted to use the keypad after changing the password. She consented and said she would try to be quieter. This last Friday, Mia went out with her buddies. At 4 a.m., she returned home quite drunk and forgot that I had changed the password. Also, not only used the keypad, but also repeatedly entered the incorrect password, setting off an alert. I was enraged. Not only did my infant wake up sobbing, but the following morning I received complaints from my neighbors. I informed her that she would have to go home by 8 p.m. if I decided to implement a curfew while she was living with me. She's not going anywhere at night for the remainder of the semester. Mia resisted, stating it was not my place to control her free time or to ground her in this way. But I didn't back down. I assured her that if she gets her own property and raises her own family, she will be free to do as she pleases. She must obey me while she lives with me. She brought this up to our parents. On my side are our mother and stepfather. Our dad is on Mia's side. He claims that since I'm not her mother, I have no business treating her like a kid. Furthermore, he believes it is unjust to treat her this way because of an inebriated error. Am I the foolish one? Edit. The keypad cannot be muted, not the fool. Although grounding your adult sister may seem like a bit of a power trip, you have every right to set regulations when your sister is living there for free. If she wants complete freedom to do as she pleases, she may always rent her own flat. If she's a college student, then she's undoubtedly old enough to be responsible for something. I like the phrase "ground her," but really, what are the other person's options? Sister has no regard for the parents or the child. Dad needs to help her find other living arrangements if he is truly horrified. It's about waking up the damn baby, not about what or who she's hanging out with late. You've given her a lot more opportunities than I would have, OP. I would threaten to kick her out if she woke the infant up even once. How irritated your spouse must be that you continue to let your grown sister to behave like a 16-year-old entitled child is beyond me. Not only are you not treating her like a child, but you are also not grounding her. If she wishes to stay in your house, you are setting limits and guidelines that she must follow. You can let her move in with either of your parents, or your dad can cover the cost of her flat rental. Her only reason for living with you is convenience. If she decides the conditions don't justify the convenience, she's free to go. To be honest, right now I would like to know when she plans to move out. My 45-year-old ex-wife and I, 43, are divorcing. 2 of our children are in high school. During the latter year of our marriage, in addition to having mood swings and generally being awful, she began to despise me. At the time, the only explanation I could think of for her behavior was hormonal. When I told her that she was acting in a hormonal way, she would become defensive. She refused to see a doctor when I told her to. She probably wouldn't have paid attention to me. I threatened to end our relationship if she didn't go to therapy and see a doctor. She requested a divorce, and I stayed silent. If that's what she wanted, that's okay, I told her. She told me she would be better off alone, and that I make a mediocre husband. That truly does sum me up. I make a mediocre spouse. I'm not a millionaire, nor am I particularly attractive. I suppose I'm simply an average husband. I never cheated. A few months after she filed for divorce, she abruptly withdrew the suit and informed me she was reconsidering. I personally submitted the petition as I recently met a 36-year-old woman who surprised me by being kind to me. After it, I was unable to return to my ex-wife. It turns out that after talking to her about her irregular menstrual cycle, my ex-wife's sister persuaded her to visit a doctor. She had recently begun hormone replacement treatment and was going through the perimenopause. We've been going through a divorce forever because she started to drag out the proceedings. I found out my partner is expecting a child. I informed her that my ex left me because I was a mediocre guy. She admitted to me that she too is an average woman who wants to raise an average child with me, live in an average home, and lead an average life. She is now my fiancée, and when I get divorced, she will become my wife. I assumed that her becoming pregnant would help my ex-wife accept that their marriage was over, but she lost her mind over it. Now that she's in menopause, she says I left her when she needed me the most, and that I'm a bad person for having a child during that time. I lost her first. Is it my fault that I became a parent while my ex-wife was going through menopause? Were you meant to curl up into a ball and not be able to move on without her after she filed for divorce? It is not you who is the fool. When an ultimatum is given, you have no other options. She decided what she wanted to do. Her you are not her concern. Regret is hers. Greetings on your lovely new family. Remember that your other children will depend on you. Man, slow down your roll. You don't have to rush into a new marriage in order to support your newborn. At the divorce mediation practice where I used to work, the general consensus was that a divorce takes at least 3 years emotionally. 1 year to process the end of the marriage and move on. 1 year to work on oneself before dating again. And 1 year to go through the back and forth of the filing process. Individuals who were engaged before the order was issued were consistently referred to as returning clients. Yes, I am aware of a 46-year-old man who has been married 4 times. The last marriage was to a friend of mine, which is how I got to know him. They got engaged the day after his 3rd divorce was finalized and got married a month or so later. His first marriage had ended when he was just 19. They went rather quickly, and he has a type. Bat crap insane. Indeed, my pal is equally insane. It was intriguing, to say the least, to watch her interact with his eccentric 3rd ex-wife. What do your older kids think of their mother's divorce, your new lady, your new baby, and your new life? Do they receive counseling from you? They perceive you as having swiftly moved on from their mother and formed a new family with someone else. You do you. But during my divorce, I most definitely did not want to be the girlfriend of someone who was pregnant. I share 50-50 custody of my young grammar schooler son, Matt, with my ex-wife, Lena. We don't have a good co-parenting relationship. We ignore each other most of the time and use an app to handle any issues pertaining to Matt and the routine. We equally divide all of our son's costs, including those for physicians, schools, and other services. To be clear, I'm a dentist, and I took care of my son regarding this up until last year before we split up. She recently messaged me on the app to let me know that we were to split the cost of the dental appointment, which was X amount. When I questioned whether there had been an emergency, she replied that it was just usual. I questioned her about why she hadn't just told me so I could take care of it. In response, she said it would be simpler because she now had a dentist of her own and had gone through him while our child was with her. I accepted, but since doing it would be almost free, I questioned why I should bother. She stated she expected payment from me, kind of snapping at me. I said, I would see, as I don't mind paying for anything for Matt, especially if it's for his health, but an unnecessary expense like that doesn't make sense. And if she just wants to pay for something that I do for free, then she can afford it. She was not pleased. She said that although we had agreed to split this cost for our son, I was unwilling to do so. We do have a 50-50 agreement, because I am his father, and she was under no obligation to choose me as his dentist, but this is the most ridiculous amount I have ever been charged by her. If the appointment was for something ordinary rather than an emergency or beyond my area of expertise, I could understand. Am I the foolish one? not the fool. She may be her mother, but this is a medical choice. Changing physicians ought to be decided upon in concert rather than acting on a whim. I would examine the precise wording found in the divorce decree. Are you entitled to certain medical treatment? Are you the dentist on file for him? This sounds like a calculated attempt on her part to get you to pay more, even if it means paying more for her. Yes, she knows that OP would be upset, which is why she is acting in this manner. Who in the world would pay more for something that someone would do for free, especially in this day and age? If I could witness her defend this before a judge, I would pay money. The judge would probably not have had to deal with the silliest thing that week either. I apologize, but you are the foolish one. As someone whose father worked as a dentist, I encourage you to consider carefully before pressing this. We didn't want to tell our dad that we were beginning to equate him with pain and fear, so we begged our mum to go somewhere else. Although we didn't fear him, we also didn't want to offend him. It is true that there are a number of reasons why doctors shouldn't practice on family members. It's not good that you are forcing interaction by lording dentistry over her head. This is the start of my dad's retirement journey with his family. He's retiring after 42 years of service, so he's covering the cost for us all to be together as a family for a week in Hawaii. My brother and I reside in the same region of the nation, but there are 6 of us total. I suppose it's important to note that my brother is 6'6" and I am 5'1". I travel frequently for work, and the airline my dad purchased our tickets for offers me a good deal of status. This was the events of much earlier today. A flight attendant approached me as we were all aboard and prepared to take off, whispering that they had a first-class passenger who had not shown up, and that they required the coach seat to make room for a standby passenger. She stated they were willing to upgrade me to first class for free because I had the highest status of anyone on the aircraft. "Oh yeah," was my reaction, and I quickly accepted it. When I saw my brother in a day, I told him to let me know if he needed anything to eat or drink. I picked up my belongings and moved. I must say that I had a pleasant flight. My brother was really grumpy when we landed and had to wait for our shuttle, but he wouldn't talk to me about it. Throughout the entire shuttle ride, he remained silent. The rest of the family gave a cordial hello to me, but my mum pulled me away after I got out of the shower and told me what I did was terrible. When I questioned her about what she was talking about, she stated that my brother should have gotten the seat. I had assumed that would be the end of it, but the vacation is off to a very difficult start, and my parents and all 5 of my siblings are mad with me. My sister told me that my niece and nephew only want to play with people who don't care about their family when I tried to play with them in the lobby while we waited for lunch. "What were you thinking? What do you think it's about?" she said, when I inquired if this had anything to do with the first-class incident. "I've been by myself since brunch and not having much fun." I remarked that he never asked me to switch with him, and she said, "An idiot makes people beg. Family members don't." Am I the foolish one? Years ago, I experienced something on Air Canada. I was upgraded on a red-eye flight from Vancouver to Toronto with my adult daughter. I was informed that the seat was reserved for the status holder when I inquired about allowing her to fly up front instead. After working for a week, I was worn out. Away, so I grabbed it. Nobody made fun of me for it, not the fool. It was impolite and ignorant of you to be jealous of your status when your brother was receiving a free vacation. Yes, OP, let them know that moving to first class wasn't even an option for him. Your brother would not have been moved to the next spot on the list if you had declined. Your brother is a whiner who is passive-aggressive and appears incapable of using words. He goes to his mother to settle his issues on his behalf. Considering how your brother behaved like a 2-year-old who had forgotten to take a nap, you deserve that upgrade even more now. Just that. Her entire family is making such a huge deal out of this, and has been for a very long time, which amazes me. Holy crap, just let it go. It seems that the brother is the perfect angel child. They could try to punish me for the entire trip, but I would not stand for it. Holy crap. The rest of the family is a bunch of entitled fools, and your brother is a 6'6" baby. Update. Despite my brief visit with them yesterday, my family was still furious with me in different ways. My vacation will be amazing no matter what, because I got to hang out with my dear friend, who is stationed here in the military, and we met some extremely gorgeous and entertaining guys at a dive bar. However, reading your remarks truly given me the courage to, at the very least, attempt not to give a damn. I'm grateful.